seen us shoot a bunch of tiny handguns, now let's shoot some really big ones. This is the Disaster Contingency Specialist's giant handgun shoot. So we're going to start with an oldie but a goodie, the Smith & Wesson Model 29. Remember Dirty Harry used to tell you it's the most powerful handgun in the world? Well, it isn't anymore. In fact, there's so many big ones out there now, the 44 Magnum's become kind of passé. But believe me, it's still got plenty of power. .44 Magnum, plenty of power. When I said giant handguns, I mean giant handguns. This is the Magnum Research BFR. That stands for Biggest, Finest Revolver. This is a 5-shot single-action revolver, and it's typically available in rifle calibers like .30-30, .450 Marlin, .45-70. This particular one is something called a .444 Marlin. I got it in this caliber because I already had the .444 rifle. Now what the cartridge looks like is this. You can see how the .444 Marlin dwarfs conventional rounds like the .44 Magnum and the 9mm. So, this has a lot of power and a lot of recoil. Let's see what it does to these jugs. Well, one thing it did was it gave me a shower. Now, when I say powerful, man, that was powerful. Interesting thing, this didn't fall apart, but it's got a big crack from the pressure of that explosion of the jug pushing down on this cinder block. It actually broke that cinder block just from the pressure of the explosion. This is a Smith & Wesson Model 500, in caliber 500 Smith & Wesson. It's a 5-shot double-action revolver, and we've got it loaded with 350 grain, 50 caliber hollow points. We're not even going to shoot the jugs with this. We're just going to go straight to the cinder box. Damn, that was impressive. Okay. These are a couple of pieces of bullet we recovered, and it is completely destroyed. We picked these up a full minute after they were fired, and if I close my hand, I can still feel the heat coming off them. This is really something. Wow, I was really impressed with what it did to those cinder blocks. Now I've got 3 cinder blocks lined up in tandem. Let's see what we can do to that. Let's take a closer look. Okay, as you can see, the first cinder block is pulverized, but not even a mark on the second one. So if you've seen our bulletproofing your house video, you know that cinder blocks will stop just about anything, at least for the first round. And even with this 500 Smith & Wesson, that still holds true. Okay, we've shot some pretty big guns. That .444 BFR you saw was mine. The 500 Smith & Wesson actually belongs to a colleague of mine. We've had this kind of escalating giant handgun war. Well, once he got that 500, I couldn't get anything more powerful, so I had to settle for something bigger. This is the Muzzle-Loading 62 caliber double-barreled Howda pistol. Now, before anybody sends me a nasty email, this is not a sawed-off shotgun. It's a 62 caliber double-barreled muzzle-loading pistol. It fires a 375 grain round ball backed up by 60 grains of 3F black powder. You can mail order these from Cabela's for about $700. The prices go up and down occasionally. Let's see what this will do. As you can see, it's not a 500 Smith & Wesson, but it's pretty cool. Okay, that was pretty good for a muzzle-loading pistol. Now, sometimes people ask me what the word Howda means. When you ride an elephant, that box on the back of the elephant you sit in is called a Howda. And in the early days of tiger hunting in India, people would ride on those, and supposedly the tiger might crawl up the side of the elephant and jump in the Howda with you, so you needed an up-close and personal, really powerful pistol. hence the Howda pistol. Now, we saw what it did to water jugs. I've got a couple of cinder blocks here. Let's see what it'll do to these. Not all that much. Let's take a closer look. Okay, how'd we do? This one put a hole through the front of the cinder block, but not through the back, and the bullet was laying right in there, and it's kind of deformed and encrusted with concrete. This one didn't penetrate through the cinder block because it hit the center where the cinder block is solid all the way through, so it just chipped off the surface. And that bullet was laying right here on the ground, also flattened out pretty well and encrusted with concrete. So is this as powerful as the other giant handguns? Of course not. But in the black powder days, this was a formidable weapon. So, as always, two things. One, don't try this at home. I'm what you call a professional. And two, thanks for watching the Disaster Contingency Specialist Giant Handgun Shoot.